Well, we've certainly came a long way in a year. It seems like tire prep in 2022 is more like mad scientist work. As you can see here on the bench, this is just a part of everything that we're going to need to prep our tires before, during, and after a race event. I'm Chad, this is the Dorky and 40 RC channel, and we are going to make you faster today. What's up, my 8,950 some lovely subscribers? Glad to be back with you here with another no prep drag RC video. Before I start tearing quads apart again, I figured I'd better do a little content for you because this bench can get quite messy. Now, as I showed you before, you can see we've got a ton of stuff on here, and the entire goal of tonight is we are going to apply another coat of the wild, awesome performance from Get Stuck. Now, what this is a pre-tire conditioner break-in formula, all of that kind of stuff, all wrapped up into one lovely bottle that can be used in multiple ways. Whew, that was a lot. We got a couple things going on the bench here. We've got some tire bands that are pre-warming. We got some tire bands here. Of course, we have our wasp. We've got batteries, drill, chuck. We've got tires around here somewhere. And of course, we have a couple of microfiber rags. Not in the picture, also a heat gun, which we're probably not going to get to the heat gun here in this part. We can maybe touch on it a little bit, but there's really no need because this is more of a track type of thing, but it could supplement you if you do not have a pair of these tire bands. So I was inspired by listening to the Mark Vine Desert Hobbies podcast on tire prep and traction compound and everything like that. Pretty good show, a little lengthy, a little bit of info in there for a 2-hour show, kind of turned into a little bit of a sales pitch for Monster Grip, which is fine. Everybody's out there doing their stuff. But when it was all said and done, Mark Vine pretty much said it best a couple times. You want to find a prep that's going to get you down the track 80 to 90% of the time, a prep process, all that kind of stuff. There's only so much that our tires can do, but the tires are getting better if we can get our hands on them. Now, last year when I was prepping my tires, pretty much the only thing I would ever do before, during, and after a race is clean with naphtha, of course, and use these nice little tire bands. And what we actually found out, and people found out before I did, was putting your prep on and then putting your tire bands on pretty much just makes your prep come right off onto your tire bands. Always wondered why in the middle of summer when it was really hot and I was at some races with some really local fast people, I was the only one that had tire bands on and they didn't. And the whole reason was they were using different preps, experimenting with things, and it's all about flashing and drying time. And that's where all of the new prep is going. Get Stuck, not this particular here, this is the break-in conditioner, but their prep and very many other preps are starting to add different kind of compounds that not only give you stickiness, but you really don't need to put in all of the extra work. You put the prep on, it has additives built into it now that will allow it to dry and like not give you that big shiny glossy coat that you have on your tires sometimes with the older preps. And instead of using things like this to actually heat up the prep between the rounds or between applications, they're actually using a heat gun, which makes a lot of sense. Now, the one thing about getting into the whole heat gun action is that means that you're going to have to take it up to the next level. That means that you're going to have to use like a generator or something like that. A cordless one, like a really powerful MILWAUKEE, might work out, but I've been doing some of my own type of reviews and stuff, and it looks like they might not be as good as the good old plug-in. Some of the ones like the Ryobi 18 volt, people pretty much say is good enough for heat shrink. It's kind of sad because the last thing I want to do is haul a generator around to go racing. But where there's a will, there's a way, and if I figure out, I will let you know. So let's get down to these tires. So, couple things. The hot bands that you see here, I'm pretty much switching to these all the time now. And the reason why is that, of course, they've got this like Velcro foil type of stuff on it. So that way you can actually clean any type of prep or anything you have off of these, which is super important. You don't want to be mixing your prep with your pre-compound and all that kind of stuff in most situations. Sometimes you will. There's even preps out there like the Monster Grip where they were talking about that they've got like a stage 1 and a 2. Mark Vine will put on the blue, which is a little less aggressive. dry that off with the heat gun, and then put on another application of the 20% stickier kind, and then heat that off, and then go and do their rips. Again, a lot different than what we were doing last year with these. So we're gonna basically just set these to the side, but if you don't want to get into a lot of money in all of this stuff, this works out really well, guys. I mean, I got to 1.9s doing the same thing, heating with the tire bands, applying the prep, cleaning with naphtha, just doing the good basic things. The preps now are a little bit better. The only thing is that you could get into a catch-22 doing things like that, and you're just not getting the full benefit out of it. That's the biggest thing when using something like this now. Now you could get these and get some KAPTON tape, which I'm going to be doing anyway, and you could wrap these in KAPTON tape, pull it off like every race, retape them if you need to. There's a few ways around that. I probably will be even using some KAPTON tape on these because that'll allow me to help keep these a little bit cleaner, and then I can just rip off the real long strips, apply new ones, and we'll be good. You can get like a roll on Amazon for like 20 bucks. I'm gonna put a link to that in the description below. While you guys are down there checking out that link, don't forget to hit that like button. It really helps out the channel here for free, costs you nothing. Leave a comment if you have some nice tips or tricks, and if you feel like buying me a drink, a beer, a soda, whatever have you, you can tip me here on the channel on the paypal.me link. So let's get to this. First thing we're going to do is we got the tire warmers running. This warmer and these bands actually run off of a 4S battery. So I've got that going on. I probably should have checked the voltage on that before I even started using this. I am chucking up my bit here, and this bit that I use is like a AKTK or something. It's available off of BeachRC for like 15 bucks. They're pretty hard to get. They've got a couple on there that are like, they go from like $20 all the way up to like 50, 60 bucks for the J Concepts one. Get whichever one you can afford or whichever one you want. You know, tires, chucks like this, and using them on the drill. Some tires and some surfaces, you know, you're going to have to test things out. Like my reactions that we're using right now, we're already broke in using the drill, sandpaper, stuff like that. Now, Jeff says that you really don't have to do a lot of that to the tires if you're using Voodoos. If you're lucky to have some, you might just want to take a little bit of the seam off. Reactions, he pretty much says you can just go ahead and start applying stuff and start breaking that tire in and condition it right off the bat. But do what makes you feel comfortable. I, for one, think I'll still scuff up the tire just a little bit. Maybe we'll test and just try that method with just this and see how it goes. I know that if I get a bark out of them, then they're going to rip down the road. So it's a very easy test. I can test it right here in my driveway. So I have both of my tires here that have been bagged up. Now these have been treated just like this one time. You can see how nice and even and textured they are. They've been living in a Ziploc bag forever. So all we're going to do right now is we are going to wrap these babies up, and we are going to let them get warm and probably keep them under the heat here for about 5, 10, 15 minutes, whatever, until I think they're warm enough. And then once we're done with that, we are actually going to come back and hit these babies with the wild, awesome performance tire prep conditioner. And we're going to have a little bit of fun. Maybe we'll see some smoke. You actually don't have to make smoke if you don't want to, but if you want to see some cool smoke, let me know and maybe we can do it on here sometime. Now, if you're interested in one of these tire heaters like this, last year they were pretty hard to get, and the bands that these things come with, even though they're made for what we do seem to be pretty fragile and pretty inconsistent. If you look right now at the temperatures, probably hard to see. You can see one is saying it's 175 and one is saying it is 160. So it's rising a little bit, but I did get like a failure on one of these right out of the box, I think after using it like once or twice. And the other thing that you're definitely going to want to do is, if you see right here, I'll just barely put it in the screen because I don't want to mess things up. I've got a big old Z's or Zaz or whatever LiPo from Amazon. It's a 5200 milliamp 4S. I always get these kind of batteries to power things like this, because when you're just sitting there constantly drawing current out of things, like, you are just going to like ruin and blow through things. So Amazon pretty much only sells these batteries now in like 2-packs. Everybody's kind of doing this thing because of the whole shipping and pandemic thing. So you can't just buy one, you got to buy two. So I haven't priced these out. They're probably 50-60 bucks for a pair. I'll put a link to those in the description below as well. Don't overspend on batteries for tire warmers and all that kind of stuff for your pits, because you're just going to ruin them, guys. Now, a couple other things that you're going to want to do as far as how hot do these need to be. I don't really know how hot. Let's just say hot. So you want them to be hot when you feel them. Not like you can't hold them hot, but like hot. The other thing is make sure that you have some kind of like battery checker or balance lead. You can get the real cheap ones. I've got this one here actually to rebalance my cells. This is pretty nice. It's like a little bit overkill for most people, but I use it to help with my FPV batteries more than anything, but really nice on these big batteries. Right now, I'm just using it to monitor the voltage, but just one of those little basic voltage beepers that you can get. Always have a couple of those in your pit bag so you don't run your batteries all the way down and like just destroy them, because you're going to go through them fast enough already. Now, if you really want to get crazy, every once in a while, what you want to do if during a heating process is just kind of open these up and just rotate the tire slightly, because even though these bands have a wire all the way through them, they do, what I notice, get some kind of like hotter spots and then some hot spots. So maybe like 5 or 6 minutes through your 10 to 12 minute preheat, you want to just kind of roll those a little bit. That way you get good even heating throughout the entire tire. So these are almost ready to go. Now this thing here is definitely cool. Your own tire spinner, prep station, all that kind of stuff. Real nice and simple and easy. But again, it's like, you know, I love gadgets and everything like that, but I try to keep it real here for you guys, try to keep the cost down. We'll see how much benefit we even get out of doing all this. So again, hope you appreciate that. I know my wife does. All right, so I think we are about ready here. So what we're gonna do is just take off one of the tires, and it is nice and warm and toasty. I could heat gun it probably if I wanted to, but that would require a little bit more work than I'm willing to put in right now. Sorry, guys. So all we're going to do is just chuck this baby up here on the tire. So there's a hex inside there, and then you just take your little nut here and screw it on to the end. Get that hair off of there. Now you don't want your drill on like super speed here. And if you have, you know, a nice variable power one, you know, that would be great as well. And it's pretty simple. So we got the tire all chucked up. And typically what we would do at this point is maybe take this thing and just soak it to death with like this dauber bottle. But that's not what we're going to do. What we're actually going to do here is we're going to like spit shine these babies. And we've got a couple different microfiber towels here. I haven't actually confirmed with Jeff which one he thinks is the best one to work with. We've got kind of like this fuzzier kind of one here, which I kind of don't like. And then we've got the 3M, which is a little bit finer. And I think that is what we're going to do. So the good thing about these as well, you know, they're not like your basic shop rags. They are going to cost a little bit more money. So, you know, don't overuse them, so that way you can basically reuse them by washing them. So that's the best thing to do. So I'm just going to fold it up into some pieces here, and I want to check my drill and see which way it's going. Okay, so it's going away from me, so we can actually rub that way. And so we are going to get our wild, awesome performance here. And we're going to open it up, and probably going to drip a little bit here from the dauber. We could probably even just take the dauber here and stick a little bit on the towel. And that's kind of what Jeff says to do. And he says it doesn't take a lot. So the whole point here is, you know, you got to have patience. This is like a couple you know, maybe like a week process. So I'm just going to go ahead and start spinning the tire here and show you guys what's going on. And what I'm feeling right now is a little bit of a slippery type of texture to it. I don't see any of the towel on there or anything at all. So we are basically done with that tire. We are going to do the exact same thing with the next one, and I will speed that one up a little bit faster for you guys. Now would be a good time to go ahead and unplug your balance charger and your battery from your tire warmers, since we're not going to need them anymore tonight. That way we are all good. And if we take a look at our rag here, we can see what we've got on there, and you can see that there was still plenty of product that was left on there. So all I'm going to do is just go ahead and flip this over, and we can see some of the product has actually slipped through here. And I'm just gonna put another dauber spot here. Jeff says to use a very little. A little bit of this goes a long way, unless you actually want to use it as more of a like dry tire prep. He said it works great that way as well. So we're gonna get this spinning, and again, we'll just go right ahead and do the same thing. So when I'm doing that whole process there, I'm just applying variable amounts of pressure, like 80 to 90% of the time light. Every once in a while, I'll just kind of push in just like a little bit. And this tire here is feeling really good. It definitely, that one heated up a lot more than this one did, but I would say that the consistency of both of them are pretty much about the same right now. So, I mean, they don't look sticky, but they definitely are very grippy and sticky right now. They're not squeaking. You know, I've seen people squeaking tires together and stuff like that. I don't think, I mean, it's pretty rough to go back and forth on those. So I'm going to call that good. So now, guys, all we're going to do is take our tires and we're going to throw them back in the old plastic bag. And I'm going to do this over and over again, maybe in another 2 or 3 days or something. And maybe next time we'll hit them with a little bit more heat. This thing does have a variable heater on it. I would not recommend, again, putting it on like full blast with just like 250 degrees. I think that might have been how I ruined one of the bands before. And yeah, I don't know. So I'd leave it at the warm-up temperature, which I think is 175 is what it defaults to. That way I just got to press the button a couple times and it's good to go. So don't forget to put your wheel nut back on there so you don't lose everything. You do not want to lose that. I had to actually look for mine this evening. That was a pain in the neck. Make sure that your bottles are tight. If you don't want to ever spill your stuff, don't forget to get a hold of Tim Barr for his traction bottle spill kits. He's got like the ultimate kit, which will hold like, I don't know, like 30 bottles or something on your table at once. You don't want to be spilling this stuff, especially with some of the prices that I'm seeing on some of this prep now. So when you've got 2 or 3 bottles on the table, you're going to knock one of them off, man. That wheelie bar is just going to go boom, and there it's going to go. And your heaters, as far as they go, mine feel pretty good because I gave them a couple wipes down earlier with brake cleaners, so those are good. So we're just going to wrap those up real nice. Don't want these things all flopping around and stuff where those wires can bend. So don't like bend them too tight, you know, just like nice small circles, I think, like this. Do everything I can to protect this thing. This is the SkyRC tire warmer and the SkyRC bands. So I always, again, keep a spare set of bands on hand, and I'll probably have to keep another pair or two since this seems to be the way that we'll be going this year. So that's going to do it for guys. We'll come back and do some more stuff with the prep. Of course, you know, everything here else on the channel that we're going to do. Super excited to get outside. I'm honestly tired of bench racing, but at least we are like closer to go, you know, to like go time. The car is ready. I've got the pinions that I need. Thank you to all of you for reaching out, saying that you would be willing to donate me some 5mm pinions. Mikey, thanks a lot for telling me about that 3mm pinion rotor that Castle sells. I'm still on the fence about that because it's a lot of stator volume. There's a reason why there's a 5mm pinion in there. Surprised if Castle makes the actual the smaller kit, then it's got to work, right? So I'm going to go put these babies to bed, and I'm going to go to bed as well. We'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.